Hello and welcome to Paris Games here on France 24, our nightly Olympic roundup. Over the next 25 minutes, I'll be bringing you through all the latest from day 12 here in the French capital. On the menu tonight, a French handballing disaster. We look forward to the men's 400-metre final and we attempt to answer the question, why do sprinters slow down at the finish line? Well, let's start with some good news for France in the table tennis. 17-year-old Félix Lebrun was back in action earlier on today as France beat Brazil 3-0 in the men's team quarter-final. Félix won his singles match, as did his brother Alexis. Simon Gauzy is also part of the team and won his doubles match alongside Alexis. The hosts are now into the final four, where they will play defending champions China. For their part, they hammered Korea 3-0 earlier. The bad news for France is that China have won every single men's team Olympic gold medal. Good news in table tennis, but bad news in handball. France are out of the men's handball at the quarter-final stage, suffering a 35-34 defeat to Germany after extra time. It's the first time Les Bleus have failed to reach an Olympic final in 20 years. In fact, they've won gold at 3 of the last 4 editions. What makes it even worse is that the hosts led by as many as 7 points at half-time, and they were leading with possession in hand with just seconds to go. Germany will play Spain in the semi-finals. Well, let me bring in, as always, the incomparable Kim Bal, who joins us on set.
I'm going some red.
Yeah, we had fabulous, we had amazing, incomparable. There's no other word for you.
It's better.
Karim, this handball defeat, let's put it into context.
Yeah.
It really is a disaster, isn't it? There's no other word for it.
Yes, this is the only word, because we used to see the French handball team going up to the end of the competition. Let's remember that in Tokyo 3 years ago, both men and women won the gold medal for France, and that was the last final line of the games in 2021. But this year, everything went wrong for men's handball, because we saw the round robin, the group stage. They lost their first 2 games against Denmark and Norway. These are 2 of the best teams in the world, because handball is mainly practiced in Europe and in Nordic countries, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. But after that, they could somehow managed to go forward thanks to the system of qualification as well. But yeah, we have this feeling at the end of the competition for France that, well, there are so many things missing in that team. They have a lot of experience, but they're missing defensively and offensively. They miss some stuff to be able to go forward.
What did you say, experience?
Yeah.
Another word for that is an aging team. Where do they go from here? Is it a complete reset, or is that too drastic? Where does the French handball team go from here?
No, I'm not sure that it's time to a complete reset for France. I mean, we have many experienced players. Even Dicamem, who made that mistake, he's now quite experienced. And from generation to generation, from the 90s to the noughties to the years onwards, France managed to have competitive teams almost at every competition. So it is not a question of resetting the stuff, but I think that maybe some key players were missing. Even the Karabatic, because Nikola Karabatic was a huge star. He's now age 40. He's going to retire after that game. Unfortunately for him, he will end up his wonderful career with that poor performance. And he has a poor tournament as well, such as his brother Luca as well. So key players were missing. I think this is an accident, but the problem is that that accident happened at home, and they were willing to offer that gold medal at home for France. That won't be the case.
And just briefly, is it Denmark's tournament to lose? They're the massive favourites to win it now, surely, aren't they?
Yeah, obviously, with their huge megastar Mikkel Hansen, which is the second best player in the world behind Nikola Karabatic. So they are very impressive since the competition started in Paris. And yeah, when we see the final teams there for semi-finals, yeah, we can put some money on Denmark to win the gold medal now.
Well, let's cross live now to our reporter, James Andre, who's at the Station d'Afrique, set up specifically for these games to the north of Paris. James, explain to us a little bit about what is Station d'Afrique.
Well, Station d'Afrique is really the headquarters for all the African nations who are taking part in these Olympic Games. There are 40 represented here. They have Some of them have tents, others are simply represented, and every night there's one nation that is put that is honored here. And indeed, as you can see, there's a big stage where there are concerts. There's all sorts of activities, also for kids, sports that can be played. And this Station Afrique is on an island called Ile-Saint-Denis, Ile-Saint-Denis, which is also home to the Olympic Village. Now, what's interesting is that the small island, which is on the Seine River, is actually a town in itself. It's a commune, as we call it here. It only has 8,500 inhabitants, and I was speaking to the mayor earlier on, who was telling me that there are 85 different nationalities, that indeed these people have had to put up with 8 years of work on the island to prepare these Olympic Games. But they're all very happy right now. There's real fervor here on the island, and it's also true that every one of the 8,500 inhabitants actually was granted one Olympic ticket to go and see one of their favorite sports. So that, of course, was pretty good. But they're really living here at the epicenter of, or at one of the epicenters of these Olympic Games.
And today they're celebrating the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Is that right?
Absolutely, DRC tonight, and on this stage behind me just minutes ago there were the 6 athletes that were sent here by the Democratic Republic of Congo to take part in the Olympic Games, and we will be seeing some of the Congolese stars, including Franglish, who is a very well-known rapper, who will be also playing here in Paris at one of the main venues later on this year. He's very, people waiting to see him here. And also earlier on, when I was speaking to the ambassador of Congo to France. Now, of course, the 6 athletes have taken part. They've played in the Olympics. They didn't get any medals. That, of course, was a disappointment in the country. This is what the ambassador had to say about that.
We had hopes, we believed, because these aren't athletes that we just found anywhere. They have had great results previously. They won medals in African competitions, but this was their first experience. The first experience is to learn. We learn, but sometimes we can also surprise people. We couldn't put off that surprise, but we're proud to have had a Congolese athlete carry the Olympic flame. That's not nothing.
James Andre at the Station d'Afrique, thank you very much. Well, one nation that I have to talk about is Ireland. Kelly Harrington's victory in the boxing last night means that it's 4 gold medals for the first time in history. Earlier on today, Irish journalist Cathal Dennehy sent us this, putting into context an amazing achievement for Ireland in Paris.
So it's been a record Games for Ireland. The record medal haul Ireland ever won at the Olympic Games was back in 2012. They won 6 medals. This point, we're only 3/4 of the way through the Games. They already have 7. 4 of them are gold. So the medals are coming from everywhere, from rowing, from boxing, from gymnastics, and possibly even here from the Stade de France in athletics. Rashida Adelecki has a great chance in the 400-metre final. That'll be on Friday night, but that's still to come. There was chances of up to 10 or 11 medals for Ireland as well. So it's been really a brilliant Games. And if you're looking towards the reason behind this, a lot of it comes down to funding, as it so often does in Olympic sports. When it comes to Olympic sports, there's no substitute for money, there's no substitute for proper facilities, proper coaching, proper investment in grassroots structures. 20 or so years ago, Ireland had very little support structures for elite athletes. That has changed completely since then, since the Athens Olympics. They won 0 medals, Athens 2004. At this point, they're on 6 or on 7. They'll probably finish up on 8, perhaps even 9. And a big reason is that about 20 years ago, the government completely overhauled the funding structures, put a lot more money into facilities, into investing in young talent, and crucially investing in coaches. They brought in a lot of expertise from abroad, also invested in Irish coaches, and we're seeing the fruits of that this week in Paris.
And maybe more medals to come for Ireland, who knows, fingers crossed. Well, as we know, sports science is playing a bigger role at the highest level than ever. Be a Champion, the book you can see on screen now, tries to answer 40 questions from why do athletes lean in a bend to why does a sprinter slow down before the finish line. Well, let's try and get some answers to those questions now, shall we? I'm delighted to say that we're joined on the line by the author of Be a Champion, Amandine Aftalion. Amandine, thanks so much for joining us. Let me start by going back to last night and an incredible 1,500-metre men's final, an incredible race in which we saw tactics of a varying degree being used. It's a race that isn't just about speed, but about strategy as well. It was Cole Hocker who got his tactics spot on in the end. Talk to us about tactics in a race like that. How much do they play a part?
Well, this was huge. This was a huge race. I was at the Stade de France last night, and everybody was expecting a real fight between the Norwegian champion, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and the British champion, Josh Kerr. I mean, one of them was holding the world record. That was Ingebrigtsen. Kerr was the world champion in Budapest. They were watching each other. Ingebrigtsen changed his strategy from usual. Usually Ingebrigtsen starts running in the 1,500 meters rather slowly, let's say. He starts the first lap being the last, and he overtakes everybody in the two last laps. Yesterday evening, he changed his strategy. He decided to lead the race, and that was his big mistake, because being a leader in such a race, 4 laps, 1,500 meters is almost 4 laps. That was too much, because you have to, if you are behind, you just follow the pace, and you save energy from that, because there's a very strong energy coming from brain and coming from attention. So he was the leader, and at the end he was watching Josh Kerr. And he changed his, in the last straight, he moved a little bit to provide Kerr from overtaking him. And in the end, it was Hocker who overtook from the inside, which is very rare, and won. And it's incredible, because going back to 2004 in Athens, Kelly Holmes did a very similar race to Cocker. She started for last. She was last for among the last 3 for the first 3 laps. And it's only in the end that she overtook, because the real best strategy in 1,500 is to maintain a steady pace. And if you start too fast, then the victory is not for you.
And Amandine, we've also just seen Noah Lyles run in the 200-metre semi-final safely through to the final. I want to look back at that 100-metre final that was so close. He started so much slower than everyone else. In sprinting over such a short distance, what makes someone such a better finisher than a starter? What makes the difference? How did he get it done in that 100-metre final?
Well, the sprint really relies again on the brain. So the first thing for the sprint is to start very fast. That is, you have to have, and this is where motivation is really important, concentration, because when you hear the starting gun, you have to leave right away. And any time to react is too much. So this is the first thing, is that you showed ping table tennis earlier. Table tennis is definitely a game where you have to be fast and where reaction has to be fast, but sprint as well. So you have to start. Then you have to start very strongly. And again, because you have a brain, an athlete is not a robot. Once he puts the fuel, he cannot maintain his velocity. So if you want to start very strongly, then the brain is going to give a very strong information to the muscle, and this very strong information doesn't last long. So that's why sprinters can speed up very fast, but at 60, 70 meters, they have reached their maximum velocity, and the muscle cannot maintain the maximum propulsive force. So in the end, in the 30, 40 meters, they end up decelerating, not really slowing down, but at least decelerating. And the leader is really the one who decelerates less. It's not the one who overtakes so much the others, but who decelerates less.
I have to ask you, Amandine, of course, about the poster boy of these games. Léon Marchand, 4 golds, and he makes it look so easy at times. His development over the last few years has been truly incredible. What makes him so special as a swimmer? What sets him apart from the rest of the competitors?
Oh, there are so many things about Léon Marchand. So he's a real champion. I mean, he has a perfect technique in the 4 types of swimming, and he has a very strong mental ability to stay concentrated and to go on without stressing and with being self-confident. But of course, self-confidence is very important. He's the best. He's being trained by the best coach in the world, Bob Bowman, who had trained Michael Phelps. And he has learned there to undulate, because in swimming, every time you go back and forth, you have 15 meters underwater. Swimming underwater is much more efficient than swimming on the surface. So this is a time when swimmers can really speed up. And Léon Marchand is probably the best in the world for this underwater swimming, which is a specific technique, which is undulating. And he has a way of undulating. Everybody now is saying like a dolphin, because the name of this undulation is dolphin kick. And he manages, especially that was on the 200-meter butterfly, I think, he was second up to the third land, just 50 meters before the end, he was second. And with this last undulation, which is very efficient, he managed to overtake the Hungarian champion.
Amandine Aftalion, sports scientist and author of Be a Champion. A fascinating insight. Thank you so much for your time. Well, one name we've heard a lot at these games is, of course, that of Teddy Riner, the French judo champion, won 2 golds at these Olympics, and now he's taking a well-deserved break back to his home in Guadeloupe, where he received a hero's welcome. Vedika Behel has more.
It's a hero's welcome for Teddy Riner, with explosive crowds as soon as he set foot in his birthplace, the French territory of Guadeloupe. He may be 6'8" and 140 kilograms, but the judoka could barely make headway through the swarms of his supporters.
I'm so happy to be back home. You all know my love for Guadeloupe, and I felt this love for Guadeloupe throughout the Olympic Games.
Riner brought home 2 gold medals at the Paris 2024 Games, becoming only the second 3-time Olympic individual gold medalist in judo history. With the red carpet rolled out for their superstar, nicknamed Teddy Bear, tens of thousands of Guadeloupeans turned out in full force.
My 4-year-old son does judo, and Teddy Riner is his hero. And when we see him shine like this, my heart just soars. Thank you, Teddy, for Guadeloupe and for the whole of France.
We're proud of this amazing, brave man. It's monumental for us. Bravo, Teddy!
But the love from the people didn't stop at the airport. Fans lined the streets as the 11-time world champion, widely considered the greatest judoka of all time, made his way on a victory parade through Pointe-à-Pitre.
It seems I underestimate the people of Guadeloupe. It's only a pleasure to receive such a warm welcome. Thank you all so much. I wanted to enjoy this medal and savor it.
It's a fleeting visit for Riner, who must return to Paris for the closing ceremony. Despite also enjoying much fanfare in the capital, there's no doubt that his native archipelago is roaring with pride.
Well, one loss for France today against Germany in the handball, but it didn't take long for the hosts to get their revenge. The French women beating their German opponents in the quarter-final of the women's basketball. Karim, a good result for the French, but they'll play a very good Belgian side in the semi-final, won't they?
Yes, exactly, because I attended a Belgium quarterfinal earlier today against Spain, and they dominated by and large that Spanish team. So yeah, France has to be careful, even if that was quite an easy game today, and that was a quiet journey for France since the beginning of the competition. There was this wake-up call with this defeat against Australia for the last game of the group stage, but still they are dominant. Marine Johannes, for example, which is supposed to be the megastar of France, scored 24 points. That's her best performance ever with the French jersey. And France has that confidence to go up to the final. But if I look at the Belgian side, they have a strong program led by Rachid Méziane, who is a French coach for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and the Belgian Cats, that their nickname. The Belgian Cats played very well. They had 2 players above 19 points today, and which is such a good performance against Spain, which is one of the best teams in basketball.
If France were to get to the final, beat Belgium, is it too harsh to say that it's a battle for silver and getting to the final would be a great result? Can anyone beat the US? They're so dominant, aren't they?
In my opinion, no. There's no team to be at the level of Team USA, and it's even the gap is even bigger on women's side than on the men's side, because on the men's side you see Team USA sometimes they can lose, even if the Avengers of this year they are very strong. But on the women's side there is a huge gap between Team USA and the other teams. So yeah, the team, either France or Belgium, which will go to the final, well, I think that they have like 1% chance of winning gold medal.
So they've got a chance, is what you're saying.
Less than a percent, less than
That's still a
1%,
chance.
yeah. Because this is sport, we never know what can happen, but still, yeah, Team USA is really above all the other teams, sadly enough, for France, Belgium, and other contenders.
Well, we'll have to see, but that USA women's team looking incredibly strong. Well, of course, it's going to be another huge night at the athletic track at the Stade de France. The men's 400-metre final is one of the showpiece events. The big question, can Kirani James win a 4th consecutive Olympic medal? He'll have stiff competition. Selena Stykes is at the Stade de France for us and sent us this preview.
Can Kirani James make history and become the first ever man to get 4 consecutive medals in the men's 400-metre final? He's so far got a medal of every colour after London, Rio and Tokyo, and he's in a good position to add a 4th. He finished in the qualifiers fastest with a time of 43.78 seconds. The sprinter from Grenada will have some stiff competition, though, starting with Team GB's Matthew Hudson-Smith, who cruised through his semi-final before slowing into a jog to win his semi-final. There's also a lot of competition from the Americans, most notably the 2022 world champion Michael Norman, as well as his compatriots Quincy Hall and Christopher Bailey. There's one big absentee, of course, that is the Belgian Alexandre Doom, the reigning indoor champion that struggled. He struggled in his semi-final and pulled out with an injury.
Karim, let's talk a bit about that big final. Kirani James feels like he's been around forever now, but he's only 31.
Yeah.
It would be a huge moment for Grenada as well to win their 2nd medal of these games. He'll fancy his chances tonight, won't he? Although he'll have stiff opposition, as Selena said, especially maybe Matthew Hudson-Smith, maybe his biggest competition in the final.
Yes, clearly it's gonna be very, very tricky tonight for Kirani James, but he has gold, silver, and bronze medal in the last 3 Olympic Games. So we'll see whether he could earn that 4th medal, and that would be great because, as you said, he's only 31. He was world champion back in 2011. He was 18 years old at that moment, and since then he could always compete, and especially at the Olympics, he had some holes in world championships, but for the Olympics, he always get on time. He's always there, and even during the semi-finals, for example, he was like 60 tenth of a second better than his season's best, so 6/10 of a second, sorry, above his best performance of the season. So it means that, yeah, he knows when to be there, and especially at the Olympic Games. So it's gonna be a great competition tonight. But yeah, I will still keep on Kirani James to earn the medal, I think.
Okay, your prediction? I'm going to put you on the spot because I haven't done this much during.
I'm very bad at predictions. That's the problem. But
so, will he win a medal? Do you think, Kirani James? Tonight?
Yeah, I see him on the podium tonight.
Okay, on the podium. Official prediction. That's your official prediction.
Yeah.
Everyone...
It's on tape.
Everyone... It's on tape. Karim has said Kirani James definitely on the podium. I want to show you our photo of the day to finish. Here's the mixed marathon race walkers of Spain celebrating their victory earlier this morning with the Eiffel Tower in the background. I think this one encapsulates these games so well. There's never been an Olympics with so many iconic locations. All I'd say is good luck, Los Angeles 2028, because how are they going to match this? It's such an incredible image, and this is what these last few weeks has been about, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Images like this.
Yes, exactly. And that was the goal, and that was the aim of the Paris 2024 organizers, to put a biggest postcard ever on Paris, the Pont Alexandre III, the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, and everything at the Grand Palais, for example, for fencing and for taekwondo. Well, beautiful venues, and the entire world is amazed by this beauty of the Olympics inside the city. That was the main goal of organizers, and that was a great success in that way.
Karim, thank you very much. Our last show together.
Yeah,
I'm not here tomorrow, you're not here Friday.
So fast, yeah.
It's very sad. It's very sad.
But we're going to be together,
We'll
right?
be together again. We'll be together again. Karim, thank you so much for tonight and the last few weeks. You'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I won't. I'll be replaced by the very capable Jean-Emile Jamin. Thank you very much for watching. In the meantime, stay tuned for more world news on France 24 in just a few minutes' time.